Happy birthday if it's your birthday, happy belated birthday if it's in the past, happy future birthday if it's in the future. My name is Lime Green, and welcome to the Out of Time Podcast, the podcast where you, yes you, all the way in the back, request games that I've never played before, like Mega Man Battle Network, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, and in this case, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Last time, we rented a room at the Stockpot Inn, we fed some fish, we helped beavers and brothers, and we delivered some mystery milk. What is it? I don't know. So we did a bunch of quests and mini games. Basically anything that wasn't going to Ikana Canyon. And this episode we're going to Ikana Canyon. I thought it would be a little like Gerudo Valley. I guess it is, in a way. In a way. So, on the way, I saw a pillar. I smashed on top of, or a pot on top of the pillar. I smashed the pot with my hook shot. There was a fairy inside of it. I got the fairy. Put it in a bottle. There was a rat with a bomb. I pulled it closer with my hook shot. It just blew up. I didn't know what I was thinking there. A bunch of Epona fences. You jump those, and there's just things exploding all around you suddenly. And it's crazy. And then all of a sudden, there's a guy looking over at you, like up on a ledge, and he's like, "I won't let you pass until you have a mask." And I'm like, I think I know what mask you're talking about. I'll come back. And I head to the left, and there's a kind of graveyard. Not really too much to do there. Just a bunch of trees and graves. I'm like, alright, well, I'll head back, and I show the guy the Garo's mask, and he's like, "Oh, that's the mask of the ninja leader who spied on the hilltop castle with a blood-stained history." I'm like, alright, cool, man. I found this on a farm. And he's like, that can call out spirits of the undead. So you go up top with him, and there's fake Gorons in this game. That's crazy. And I didn't even know those were a thing. And they just look at you and blow up. And then you head into the canyon itself. There's a guy running around. This is like the weirdest series of events, I guess. There's a guy running around. He started to go up to me. And then a spirit appears. He calls me master. Summons a ring of fire. And then goes down in one hit. And then he says, to cross the valley of Ikana, freeze the river beasts. I'm like, alright, cool. I guess I'll figure out what those are. Then the guy that was running around before, he's like, "Can I borrow your sword?" Do you know how long it took me to get this gilded sword? Get your own, buddy. Let me know what happens if you give him your sword. I did not. I think another Garo said, "Parent/child needs river current to power music box house thing." And then I froze the Octoroks, hookshot up the mountain. There's another Garo spirit, and ... a bird. They teamed up Avengers style and started fighting me. And this one says, "Don't enter the spring water cave without a song buried in a grave." And up ahead, there's a bunch of gibdos. And the parent-child house? Question mark. And then I found the spring water cave. Another Garo spirit and another bird team up. And this one says, to revive the dried up river on Akama Hill, you must enter the Springwater Cave. This one's just pretty straightforward. And then I found the spirit house. And then another Gar spirit just spits out a paragraph at you. After 1 minute, the music box starts playing, and the music box girl goes to the dried well. As long as the spirits are outside, she won't leave. And then I was like, okay. So if she won't leave as long as spirits are outside, well, if I take out all the gibdos, she has to leave then, right? So I took out all the gibdos, took out all the skull guys, and she still didn't leave. So I was like, what to do then? So I jumped down the well. There's gibdos down there, and barred doors. They won't die to bombs or fire arrows, the Paper Mario strategy. And then they won't die to just the classic gilded sword. So I wander around, I found a fairy fountain on the stone tower. I'm like, well, maybe this is all just like side quest stuff. Let's see if we can do the stone tower. There's boulders falling down, you gotta step on the buttons and jump from platform to platform, but somehow do it at the same time. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So I backtracked all the way back to Akana Graveyard. Maybe I missed something here. Dampe is here now, and some stall children. There's a plaque, and it says, Captain of the army, defending Akana Kingdom during war. Ye who awaken me, battle me. Then I shall extinguish the furious flame. So the first time I read this, I was like, I'm gonna need something completely new to do this. And then it turns out you just need to play the Sonata of awaken Captain Kita, beat him in a race, in quotations. You just shoot arrows at him. And then he's like, here's a chest. And he puts it across a broken bridge. And I missed the jump the first time. I had to go all the way back around, jump across, and it's the captain's hat where you can talk to the stall children. And every day the stall children protect a different grave. And I was there on the last day. So Dampe is beneath the cemetery. He can't see you, but he can see your light. And he's like, I'm digging for treasure. And using video game logic, I was like, alright, so it's gotta be at the highest point on the tallest tower. Let's go over there. And he walks very slow. And by the time I got him over there, time's running out. And he digs, and he's like, that ain't it. And I'm like, bro, brosif, broski, what is going on? So I reset time, go the first day, go back underground. There's bats, iron knuckles, and a ghost named Flat, and he says his brother, Sharp, sold his soul to the devil. And he's like, here's the Song of Storms. And I'm like, cool. Let's do a discount double check. Go underground the second day. And there's a Lens of Truth wall and a little Lens of Truth walkway to a bomb wall. But I had no bombs, and I forgot the bomb mask even existed. So that was a whole adventure in itself. And then once you eventually blow up the wall, there's an iron knuckle, you beat him, and a piece of heart. Cool. So on the third day, I'm like, alright, let's finally see what this is all about. You gotta get Dampe to dig up all three of the spots. And then that like releases a bunch of light. And then that releases like a big Poe. And then you beat him with the time ticking down. And it's really nerve-wracking. And that just nets you a piece of heart. And I'm like, really? Just for a piece of heart? In the N64 version, apparently it's a bottle. I would have preferred something on those lines. Maybe a mask, I'm not sure. So, you go back, you play the Song of Storms for Sharp, and he's like, "Thank you. Now you must seek out the king, as he knows the only way to the temple." And the gibdos turn to dust, and water flows into Hana. The girl comes out of her house, and the thing is, she runs back inside the very moment she sees Link. So, I'm like, I know what I have to do. Use the stone mask and see where she goes. And she goes to the well. So, I go inside the well. And nothing has changed in the well. All is well in the well. So what you have to do is you have to sneak inside her house when she's gone. There's a lot of sneaking in houses in Majora's Mask. What's up with that? And you go downstairs, and there's this half gibdo, half guy in the wardrobe, and you play the Song of Healing, and the gibdo mask falls off. And then when you try and talk to him, Tattle's like, "Why? Aren't you insensitive?" I'm like, I just wanted to make sure they're alright, okay? And now with the gibdo mask, you can talk to the gibdo in the well. And in the well, also the gibdo mask left an empty spot in the menu, so I'm like, probably gotta get another mask soon. In the well, the gibdo that are unkillable are like, I want a red potion and some magic beans. And I'm like, oh man, this is the Monkey Caves in Earthbound. You guys suggested I play Majora's Mask. I'm suggesting you guys play Earthbound / Earthbound Beginning / Mother 3. It's a classic game. So you just gotta get a whole bunch of stuff for these gibdo in the well. You gotta get magic beans and red potion and fish and water and fish. Something bomb like that's Deku Nuts. A big ghost that's a big Poe. Something small and creepy, those are bugs. And there's a fairy fountain down there. And then one of them wants spring water, and there's a Dexy hand behind 2 columns of fire guarding it. Then you try and get it, and the Dexy hand grabs you, throws you down into the fire. That was kind of irritating. And then one of them just wants an actual bomb. And then something that melts ice. So you need hot spring water. So it just literally is Earthbound, where you have to navigate the entire area, like memorize it in your head. And one of them wants Lon milk. So it's a maze of gibdos and gibdo requests. Eventually you navigate it, and you get the mirror shield, which can reflect light. And then you climb back up, and then you go to an area which I've never even heard of in this game, never even seen. It's the ancient castle of Ikana. I wasn't even expecting this. And another Garo spirit comes out, and you beat him, and he's like, a particular room in Ikana Castle. Hole can be opened in the ceiling with a powerful explosive. And I'm like, alright, thanks for the tip. You go inside the castle, and there's this is so weird. Dancing Re-Dead. Already setting the scene for the weirdness. Ceiling comes down, you jump around with Deku flowers. Skulltulas come down from the ceiling. You end up on an island with a button. I thought I was stuck. Just had to use the lens of truth. You hit a button on the pillar outside. Light shines down from inside. You make your way through. You find another whiz robe. And then you get your way all the way to the top. There's a crack that can be opened in the ceiling with a powerful explosive you heard about. You use bombs. You use bomb chews. You try and smash it with the Goron Link. You're like, huh. Hope it's not what I'm thinking of. And it is. You're like, oh man. It's a powder keg. So you have to fly all the way back to the mountain village. Hopefully you have some rupees. You have to buy it from the big Goron, and then fly back to Kana Canyon, and then make your way through the monkey caves. I'll call them the monkey caves because that's what they are. Navigate, navigate all the way through, navigate through Kana Castle, and then all the way up to the top, and then blow it up with the powder keg, and hopefully you throw in the right spot. Unless you somehow knew you'd be needing the powder keg, because how would you know you'd be needing a powder keg? This is a crazy quest. So you drop down, and there's a Skelebones here, the king of Ikana, and he sends his troops after you. And this is very much like the boss in Wind Waker, the ghost. And you have to burn the curtains, and the light comes in, and you beam up, and then you reflect the light at them, and they melt away. But when the king comes down, he's got a shield, so it's harder. He also sends his head at you. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do there. I just took the hits, and then eventually he goes down the same way. And then he grants you a soldier with no heart. It's the Elegy of Emptiness. It's been drowned. Which you can make statues of Deku Link, Young Link, Goron Link, and Zora Link. And immediately you're like, oh, I can press down those buttons now. So you fly back to Clocktown to save the game. And I deposited all my rupees. Now I have over 1,000. And they just give me like 5 rupees in interest. I'm like, cool. Whatever. Thanks, I guess. So finally, I made my way up the temple side, or tower side, I guess. Nothing really too crazy. Boulders, flopping down. You just had to step on buttons at the right time and in the right order. And then finally you get into the Stone Tower Temple. You enter the first room. There's dragonflies coming at you. And then you're like, alright. Kinda weird. You enter the second room, and that's when you're like, alright, something's up. Cue soundtrack. Or, what's it? Laugh track. And then I'm like, I'm gonna do all the stray fairies here. Because I ain't going back in this dungeon. This is a wild dungeon. It's a mix of Goron, Zora, and Deku challenges with a little bit of mirror shield shenanigans sprinkled in. So, Goron, Link, you gotta walk over lava a little bit. Zora, you have to be proficient in the dolphin jump. And Deku, Link, it's a lot of wind gust over lava. Now, I'll say, the mirror shield parts, they got a little annoying because you have to reflect the light down and reflect down to mirror and then reflect that light onto, I guess, the block. That puzzle took an annoying amount of time. Eventually you get to the Garo Master, you beat him, and he says, shoot the red emblem outside, and he gives you light arrows, and you're like, what does that mean? You meet an man, Igor, and he's what do you call him? Like a puzzly guy. You have to shoot him in the eye at the right times, and he's also shooting lasers at you, making you back up at the right times. He's a pretty neat guy. And then finally you're like, alright, what's the red emblem? You have to leave the temple, shoot it, and the emblem outside, and the entire temple flips. Kind of like the Breath of the Wild, I guess, dungeons. how you have to arrange them in a certain way. And not only the temple flips, but individual rooms flip. There's a block puzzle where you have to keep flipping the room over and over again. That I'm just saying, this entire temple is a precursor to the Breath of the Wild temples. And you fight Wizardrobe again. And then there's like a Batman, in which you have to fight the bats and then shoot the crystal, like his crystal chest. You have to fight Igor again. And then you have to flip the temple again, because I needed to get all the Stray Fairies, and eventually I did. And I'm like, alright, should I leave? Or just keep going through? Because I'm like, I don't want to redo all this. And I eventually did leave, and you get the Great Fairy Sword, which was the last item, and I'm like, why is it an item? Because the Mirror Shield's not an item, the Gilded Sword's not an item. Why is the Great Fairy Sword an item? And I have to say, like, why is the Great Fairy Sword, you just hit a button and swing? Why can't you do amazing moves with it? I don't know. I have so many questions with it. So you flip the temple again, and then Twin Mold is the boss. Twin Mold is like, I wrote down Twin Rova, but a bug. It's 2 giant bugs, and you have to shoot the blue one with a bunch of light arrows, and then you beat it. This boss took me, I think, two tries, just because of like what happens. It's like really weird. You beat the blue one, and then a chest appears, and then you open the chest, and it's the giant's mask, and you're like, all right, this is not the norm. And you put on the giant's mask, and you become like Mario. And the first time I just tried punching Twin Mold, because I really didn't know what else to do, and I died like that. And the second time I figured out you can like throw rocks at him, and like, is Super Mario 64 swing him around? It's like Mario 64, and he's fairly easy once you understand what to do. And also, you only use the Giant's Mask just in this one fight on this one boss. It's kind of sad once you figure that out. Caleb Simpson from ZeldaDungeon.net, the guide I've been using this entire time, he mentioned that he wished there was an actual boss fight that used Zora Link, Goron Link, and Deku Link, which I'm kind of surprised there isn't. And yeah, if there was ever a sequel to this game, or like a spiritual successor, there you are. There's your idea, Nintendo. So you finally beat Twin Mold, and then you get like a flashback, dream sequence to the Giants, and Tato's like, yo, we helped you guys. Now what? And the Giants are like, call us. Forgive your friend. And that's it. That's all. They're a man of few words, or men of few words, I guess. Now you have the option to summon them on the 3rd day on top of the clock tower to help you fight Skull Kid. So that's Ikana Canyon in a nutshell. I have to say, it was a pretty fun chapter. Or segment of the game. What do you call it? Chapter? I'm not sure. It was very action-packed. It was very ghostly. It was mostly ghostly. And if I have to say, probably one of the best parts of the game. What did you think of Ikana Canyon? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for the final part of Majora's Mask. And catch you later, I guess. Bye bye.